Hello, and thank you for joining America's Warrior Partnership as we talk with veterans about their journey transitioning from military service to law enforcement. America's Warrior Partnership's mission is to partner with communities to end veteran suicide. We've put together a special fireside chat with law enforcement personnel who will share their experiences of finding purpose and continuing their service post-military. These conversations may have a tendency to bring up feelings and open old wounds. If you or someone you love are experiencing thoughts of harming themselves, please contact the Veteran Crisis Line by dialing 988 or texting 838-255. I encourage you to leverage resources as they are appropriate for you and know that you are not alone. The helping part, all three of you have talked about that as a being a part of your decision of what you're doing with moving into law enforcement. And helping heart doesn't come without a lot of tragedy and difficulty on ourselves when we're working to support other people and help other people. Can we talk a little bit about the experiences, the trials, the tribulations, the things that work for you guys when you are helping others and you're taking all that on? You're helping them, but you're holding that inside of you. How do you deal and cope with that? Whether it's related to what you're experiencing in your job or even within your personal life?
Yeah, I think of, well, first off, I just want to say the resiliency of the story. I was holding back, so I appreciate you sharing that story, and your resiliency shows through. Your love for the country and your love for your wife and your family is phenomenal. Tying into that, into this question, is until about 2018, I was seeing the signs back in 2000. I saw the signs in 2010 in myself, and it wasn't until 2018 that a lot of stuff from my military time and things that I dealt with police-wise, especially being a detective, death, you just see death. You go investigate a suicide, you go investigate an overdose, and that's not taking away. Patrol does that too. Some of the incidents I've been involved in and going to autopsies and stuff, you think you can just hold it inside. And some of the things I say when I teach officers in services, until 2018, I didn't believe in mental health. But everything we see, why does it make us weak? The whole scenario of, oh, I'm fine. Well, you're not fine. We can't pick and choose what calls we go on. When the radio goes off, I have trouble with children. Stuff from my deployment and stuff from being on the job. I have a big problem with children, child abuse, such as Coolip said, and other crimes involving children. But when the radio goes off and you answer and it's a call, a baby not breathing or a child abuse call or something along those lines, you can't pick and choose what calls you go to. So you have to have that support ready. I have no problem telling people and putting it right out there. Yeah. Do I go to the VA and talk to someone? Do I need to go every week? No. But do I sometimes have things I need to unpackage? Yes. And I'm not afraid to say so. Sometimes I'll call my guy from the VA up and be like, hey, I'm good this week. I don't need to talk. Well, why don't you come in? And next thing you know, I'm venting. But I think there's sometimes a wall with police and sometimes veterans that they don't want to talk to people, and it becomes destructive towards themselves, towards their families. I think if it doesn't, it snowballs and snowballs and snowballs until we get into a situation where it's tough to ask for help. I'm as tough as anyone in my mind. I hope other people think the same, but I just think when we see so much and do so much, we need to ask for help. We need to go talk to someone in our own way. Maybe it's just peer support. Maybe it's a therapist. It's whatever works for you.
You said there were signs. A lot of times we don't recognize even within ourselves that there are signs that are building. what signs were you experiencing that you worked through?
I was drinking an awful lot. I wouldn't say alcoholism, but drinking an awful lot. I joke in some of my classes that, oh, Crown Royal with a splash of water, but I was very angry, extremely angry. And some of the stats I see now is that, law enforcement, we're 40% more likely to be involved in domestic incidents. And I am lucky that I was, my job, it would be done, career over. But we have to be on such a behavior on the streets, not saying that we can fly off the handle, whatnot, but everything is scrutinized now, recorded and stuff. And then you have that inside for your 8, 10, 12-hour shift. And then you go home and a little thing that your kid does, your significant other does, and it's this explosion. And you don't see it. Those are some of the signs I saw, like the anger. You hold it in all shift, or you hold in, you don't want to cry, you don't want to pull to the side of the road when you may have dealt with something, like I said, my stuff with children. But those warning signs where some anger building up. Why am I freaking out over things? I got to let it out somehow. You can't keep packaging in. Many people have said, you've got to break to heal at some point. You can't keep it all inside until you explode. But those signs I was seeing, the drinking, the anger, those things are still present, but they're controlled.
Yeah, well, same thing. I saw the signs. There's a lot I can say about this. So just bear with me real quick. All right. In 2000, let me see. I thought I was the baddest son of a gun out there, Man, I'm a badass, this, that, and the other. Until my wife proved me that no, you're not. Just by the way she was, by the way she saw me, she saw right through me, and she would tell me straight up, hey, this is what's going on with you. And I'm like, holy cow, I got this mask. How can you see through it? That woman did. That woman loved me. Boy, she did. All right. And she stayed with me for I don't know if you noticed, but I got 20 names in my arm. Those are the only ones that I put in. I carry about 90% of them. They got killed in Iraq and Afghanistan. And my wife knew every single one of them. So she was very, very, very involved in my life and my career. Like my life and my career was first, which, like I said, I was being selfish, I guess. The signs, I was drinking a lot. Drinking towards the last deployments. I think one of my deployments, because I deployed 2005, 6, 7, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 17. I lost so many guys already that I was disarming or taking care of IEDs while drinking at the same time, hoping that somebody will take me out, but it didn't happen. And the reason why I'm alive too is because I promised my guys that the ones that got killed, that there's no way in hell I'm gonna take my life, because it won't be fair that their family then get to see the loved ones because they got killed in Afghanistan, Iraq, and they're not gonna come home and do it. That's just not fair. Okay. It got very bad. It got to drinking, doing stuff that a married person shouldn't do. So I put myself, because I saw it, and I put myself through this program at Fort Hood. It's called Intrepid Spirit. I was so bad when I came back on my last deployment in 2017, I think it was, that I put myself through it, that my wife left me for 1 year. She came back to Georgia while I was at Fort Hood. That's how bad it was. And I don't blame her. The love can only do so much and can stand so much, right? So I retired and came back out here. I'm gonna show you something if you don't mind, okay? I'm gonna show you something that I got in Intrepid Spirit. And I take this. This is what saved my life. Actually, that's my wall with all my guys. So they say, do a mask. Can you see that? And I wrote in here, you can't unsee what you've seen, and now you can look at what you saw. I don't know if you can see that right there. So that was the mask that I had. That's me right here at that time, and this is what I wanted to be at. And then when you open it, that's the life that I want to live. I mean, you still got the pain and suffering, but you got the piece of freedom, American land, which I got so far, you know? So that's what that means to me. And that helped me to come through this, come out of this hole that I was in. So like I said, I saw those signs. And so that helped out a lot. And on that side, that's about it. But when it comes to suicide, I come to learn, like, for example, there's 22 suicides a day, okay? You putting yourself on Facebook, doing 22 push-ups for suicide awareness, like, I'm quite aware that people do commit suicide. I don't need to see you on Facebook doing 22 push-ups. What I would like for you to do is get on the phone or knock on one of your soldiers' doors and see how they're doing. That's doing something. If you really care, go knock. I still call my troops. You know, I call about four to five people every week and see how they're doing. You know, this put yourself on Facebook doing push-ups, that's cute, that's fine. How many people have you called today? You know, how many knocks have you done on that door? And that, I think that's what we need in our community, retirement. Also, when I was still in, there's a lot of programs for veterans when you get out, but there's not many when you're still in, and that needs to be looked at, especially with some first class, you know, senior NCOs that they're like, no, I'm not this, I'm not very here, but you know that they're hurt. You know, when I went through this program by myself, I put myself through this program, and when I came back, my command sergeant major didn't even know where I was. So there's a big separation once you make it out. That's what I saw the last 5 years in the military. That's what I saw. I saw that the chain of command is all about, not all of it, but a lot of it. It's all about, hey, I want to move out to, you know, do other things, do better things. So they call it do better things. Better things is taking care of your soldiers. I think that's the most important thing as a leader. Now, and they failed me, and I also failed to ask for help. It takes two, but at the same time, the EOD community and Special Forces community in from 2015 to 2019, they were being looked at very strong by the psychologists and psychiatrists, because there's a lot of the guys towards the end of the deployments, it was Special Forces, EOD, we were going in and out, because that's what it was. And I believe the military, or the leadership in the military, is failing their soldiers on figuring out or asking them how they're mentally doing. That is a big thing that I saw towards the end of my military career. They're failing their soldiers, and I lost in 1 year 10 EOD takes to suicide. 10, and it's not many of us. And they're like, I don't know how this happened. Well, yes, we do know how this happened, but you're just ignoring it. People need to talk. I didn't talk about this at all. I didn't used to talk about any of this. I used to drink it away until I went to Intrepid Spirit, and I realized that I need to talk about it. Because if not, I don't know how far I would have made it. I don't know if I would have kept my promise to my guys, you know? So that's why when it comes to hey, let's suicide awareness. Yeah, I'm aware of suicide. Yes, got it. But what are you doing about it? Making t-shirts, doing push-ups? You know, no. Talk to your people. Talk to them. That I wish somebody would have talked to me. You know, I wish someone would have talked to me. But hey, I did it on my own, and now I'm passing the word, and you know, letting my people know that they need to talk to each other. I think that'll be the best step right now. or at least something. We need to try something different, you know, than just buying T-shirts and doing push-ups, you know. So yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about suicide.
Yes. Wow. Cool. If I can listen to your stories all day, man, I really can. You know, I can listen to you all day, and it's something that needs to be shared. And I'm glad we're doing this particular this panel. But my story is a little different than both James and Cool. You know, as for and on the law enforcement side, because I am a marshal, and our responsibilities and our job description is a little more different. Even though we're all law enforcement officers, I probably don't see half of the stuff that both of these gentlemen have seen over the last couple of years of their careers, because all of my work actually comes from the court system. We do civil process, but I could share some stuff that I'm still dealing with, that I had to deal with since my Marine Corps days. I was an instructor, and I was involved in an accidental shooting on one of our ranges where 2 Marines were actually shot. And that was probably one of the toughest days of my life, because 2 young Marines who was just starting their careers were actually accidental shot, and I was one of the instructors on that particular range where it took place at. And this, you know, I still see that incident to this day, and to this day, I still have to talk to somebody about that. Just like Jay said, I have to go to the VA and I have to talk with a psychiatrist, you know, about that particular incident, because I was in denial, and I think that had a lot to do with the failure in my first marriage. You know, I mean, my first wife, the mother of my kids, divorced, and it was times where I was drinking, you know, just trying to mask the pain that, you know, just that particular incident that I saw on the range that day, you know, when somebody actually being shot. And, you know, that's why me and Jay was talking earlier before everybody came on to the Zoom call about, you know, when I first started going to the VA, I had a fellow officer who works in the agency, who worked in the agency with me. His name was Sergeant Otis McGraw. He's now deceased. He's gone on to heaven, but he would share stories with me. He was in the Army. He was a paratrooper. He jumped out of planes, and that's all he talked about, jumping out of planes. And we talked all the time. And he said, "Sam, man, you're a veteran, man." And he said, "You don't utilize." I said, "No, I don't have time to do that. You know, I have other things." He said, "Man, just, you know, you earned that." So this, and I'm sharing this with any other veteran that may be listening to this or seeing this. You earned that. Okay, you earned that. So take time to go get yourself checked out. But I was in denial, and I was still having nightmares. I was still having dreams about that particular incident, and then eventually I went down to seek the help, for what I had gone through in the Marine Corps. But mental health is very serious, and we have, especially in Augusta area where I'm at, we have so many veterans that are homeless, that are walking around in the city, that needs the help. But I don't think they actually know how to go about getting the help, because they're just so messed up in their minds from what they've gone through in the military and stuff. But I must say that it is something that very serious, it's very real, And all I can say, if you need help, don't be afraid. Like I was, I didn't want to, I was in the Marine Corps, in the Marine Corps, you didn't do too much sick call, because if you went to sick call, they looked at you like you might have been a wimp or something like that. You're not holding your own. That's just, you was just tough. That's just the mindset we had. And that started in boot camp. You're supposed to be tough, And so, but now it's not the time to be tough. Now is the time, if you need help, to reach out to somebody, just let somebody know that there are avenues where you can actually get help now.